Okie dokie. So what we're doing now is we are going to create this door, and we're going to do it out of a window. So I'm going to go back to this, press P for perspective, and I'm going to look at the front of the building. I'm going to select a window, but in order to do that, right now, I have the house selected, and I'm in polygon mode, so I need to get out of that. I can do that by clicking on this polygon selection here. I'm going to click on a window, I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to move this object over. So the reason I'm doing this, and I'm going to press L to look at the front of the house, or F depending on the orientation of your building. The reason I'm doing this is because it has the same exact frame that I want. The white frame here that the window has is the same frame that I want in the door. So the easiest way to adjust the scale is line it up over here on the left side the best you can, and then like we did in prior videos, I'm going to go to the vertex option, and I'm going to click and drag where these vertices are, and I'm going to move them over into the door. So I'm going to do the same thing here, and I'm going to drag it down to about there. And now I'm going to orbit around. I need to move the door back a little bit, so I'm going to get out of vertex mode and move the entire door. And actually, let's move the door out. And I'm going to select these polygons that we made and kind of make a decision on the fly. Should we do that? No. Let's check this picture again. The front here is glass. So I think we're going to take this selection here and make this the door, and we'll leave this as the storm door. So let's look at the storm door again in this picture, and the door handle goes on the glass, but in this video we're not going to model a door handle, we're just going to leave the door as it is. So looking at the picture again, I've got 1, 2, 3 sections here. We've got 1, 2, 3 sections. And right here we have 1 and 2. So what I need to do is I'm going to select, I'm actually going to get out of polygon mode and move this door further away. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to press 2 for vertex mode. I'm going to select this edge, and I'm going to select this edge, and I'm going to connect. I'm going to hit the settings box next to connect, and I'm going to right click on these arrows to resend that back to 0, and I'm going to line this up somewhere in here. Yes, and now I'm going to press 4 for polygon, or you can select this polygon, and F2 toggles on and off the highlighted selected polygons, and I'm going to hold control and select these 2 polygons, so I have 3 polygons selected. Next, I'm going to hit the settings box next to inset, which insets all these polygons together, but I don't want that, so I'm going to hit the down arrow here, and I'm going to change the option to by polygon. Now it insets each polygon. So I'm going to go ahead and click the check mark and look back at the reference image, and it looks like these are all the same size, but there's a bigger gap at the bottom. In this picture, this polygon is big. So what I'm going to do is go to edge mode, and I'm going to select this edge, and this edge here, and I'm going to move them up. And then I'm going to do the same to this, 2, and I'm going to move these up. So this is about the same size. In the future, we won't do this. I'm just doing this to give you a better, to acclimate you to connecting edges and selecting edges and moving polygons and insetting polygons. In the future, what we will more than likely do is just get off the internet an image of a door, and we will put it on here. This is very unnecessary to spend so much time on modeling a door when you could just apply a picture like they would in a video game as a material. Because we're more focused on the floor plan and the construction, not the color of the wallpaper, the materials. So that's what we would do in the future, but it's beneficial right now while we get the hang of this. So I'm going to select the bottom, actually this edge here, and I'm going to move this up. Okay, and then I'm going to click grow, so it selects all those polygons, and I'm going to hold Alt and deselect the polygons in the middle, and I'm going to apply a material here that's the color of the door. So I'm going to press M, and let's create a material. So I'm going to right click, go to materials, and go to scanline, go to standard. Again, this is a good way to get experience, a little practice creating materials, which we'll be doing a lot of. And I'm going to hit the settings box next to the word diffuse. Actually, no, I'm going to hit cancel on that. I'm going to hit the long gray box next to the word diffuse, and I'm going to choose kind of from the picture a tealish color, although it's probably very hideous. I'm going to apply it there, and now what I'm going to do is select the polygons in the middle, and let's look back at the picture, and it looks like there's some sort of... So my feeling is that this glass and this dark teal is a storm door, and there's a wooden door on the other side of this here. Again, in the future, we'll just use a picture of a door. We don't need to worry about it. But for what we're doing now, I'm just going to go ahead and let's say just create a color that is similar to that wooden door. So I'm gonna, what I did right there, I had a material selected and I moved it while I was holding shift, so it dragged a copy of it. So I'm going to double click that new selection, double click on the diffuse button, and I'm just going to move the dials around until I get a color that is similar to that wooden color, kind of a peach color, and drag it on here, even though I know that that's probably hideous. And I'm going to click this button here to get out of the door, and now I'm going to go and move this storm door back into place and press F9. Let's see what it looks like. You can't even see through that because the glass is so opaque. So what I'm going to do for that is go ahead and press M, and I'm going to double click the glass material again, and I'll probably take the opacity down to 50, although I have a feeling that the glass isn't opaque as much as the lighting is bad. You can kind of see through there. So you can see the door. Our door is hideous, but that's, again, we're not going to be modeling doors. We're not going to be door experts. That's fine. And I think the last thing that we're going to do, should we do this? I think we should do this. We're going to do the gutters and that hook off of this and go down the side of the house, and then we're going to stop there. My house is floating. So, that's weird. It shouldn't have been floating. I'm going to press L. I'm going to press F. So you want this view, the back of the house, the side of the house. So you want to press F or L depending on whatever orientation you have of the house. And we're going to learn one useful tool here called the line tool. This is what we'll be using in the future to... Actually, we've already... This is another way in the future when we have floor plans that we can snap to the grid, and we can use the line tool to create the walls. So what we're going to do here is click the plus sign, click on the little button that says shapes, and I'm going to go to the line tool and click line. And it's very particular how you do this, so I want you to follow what I do exactly. I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to click here, left click. I'm going to left click here, and then I'm going to take my mouse down here, and I'm going to left click again. So this is going to be, like I said, a very generic gutter. It's just the impression. This is just a learning tool. If you wanted to do better gutters, more professional looking in the future, I can give you fine-tuning tips that will take this to the next level. But just for today in this example, we're going to do very basic. So I'm going to click here to start with, and then I'm going to click and slightly drag my mouse down to give a curve. And now I'm going to hold shift so I can get a straight line. And then I'm going to click down here, and then I'm going to stop. So left click, and now I need to get out of the tool, so I'm going to right click. Okay, right now we've got a white line that we need to turn into a shape, so I'm going to click on the Modify tab. I'm going to click the very first option, which says Rendering, and I'm going to check the first two boxes, 1, 2. And now we have a pipe-looking gutter that I'm going to change into a rectangle. So first, it's a radial object with a thickness here you can adjust for future reference. But for this, I want it to be a rectangle that looks more gutterish, gutter-like. So I need to adjust not the length, but it looks like the width. So I'm going to adjust the width a little bit so it is looking more like that. And up here, I can change the color to white. And that still looks like a bluish white. And now probably adjust the width, I'm sorry, the the length here in the case of this. Okay, make it rather thin. And now you want this view, so whether that's F or whether that's L, we're going to line this up on the corner of the house. And I'm going to hold Shift and drag a copy of it over to this corner of the house. And then I'm going to click OK. And now I'm going to press F or L, whatever gets you this view here. And I'm going to deselect everything by clicking over here in empty space. I'm going to click and drag a little box up into this corner here so I can select the gutter, which selects the front gutter and the back gutter. And I'm going to hold Shift and drag a copy onto this side of the house. And click OK. And with that still selected, I'm going to click on this button right here, which is the mirror tool, and it's more than likely going to flip this. If you click the mirror and it doesn't work, just adjust the axis you're mirroring on until it looks the way you want it, and then you're going to move it to the corner of the house. Like I said, this very generic gutters, basically generic everything. But as you see, this is a step up from the last module that we created. F4 turns off edge faces, F9 will render, and I've got a weird floating looking shadow here. I'm not really sure what that is. In upcoming videos, I'll show you how to do terrain and stuff. I don't know what that shadow is. Oh, that's the shadow coming this way from a light over there, and a shadow coming this way. So my house isn't floating. I've just got weird lighting. Yeah, there's a shadow here and a shadow here. Okay, so you can see how this looks a little better than what we did in the past. And how we'll do this in the future. Hide selection. How we'll do this in the future, I'm going to hide this stuff. Hide this elevation drawing. Selection. But how we'll do this in the future, when we're all done with everything, to display the floor plan, the house, and the actual model of the floor, we will take and make a copy. And in one, we will have the floor plan set out like this, and with a floor. And coming up in the future, I'll show you how to do different flooring. So we can take a section like this with a plane and add different flooring to it. Right now we don't have any floor. There's nothing there. So what I'll probably do just to highlight the structure is add a regular plane. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this so you can see what the floor plan looks like. Again, in the future we'll have an actual floors in there, and we'll add different colors to the walls so they're easy to decipher from one another. And we'll also cut this off where the roof is, so it's a lot easier to tell what's going on inside. So we'll have the floor plan that you created in another program in CAD. We'll have the actual displayed 3D rendering of the floor plan without the jagged roof cuts and all this stuff. And then in the other one, we will have a rendering of the house from an elevation drawing that we've created, that we're going to find references for, so we're not just making stuff up. That is pretty much the end of this tutorial altogether, the end of the whole model.